we are busy setting up, for example, an exciting one, we are busy setting up a lab on cybersecurity.
Okay.
Whereby we are then giving our students and even the community that ability to come and understand the sandboxing around cybersecurity. The past few days, there has been a discussion about DeepSeek,
Yes.
which is an artificial intelligence, another version of artificial intelligence, and how it basically shocked the American stock markets.
Yeah.
And now we are in the era whereby technology and innovation is happening quite rapid. And what is relevant today might not be relevant tomorrow. The hub is there, and what we are looking for is industry partners. We are very deliberate. We can easily set up labs our own as the university. But the problem is that we are going to then come up with solutions that the industry doesn't want.
Welcome to another episode of ITWeb TV. Today we are joined by Tseliso Mohlomi, who is the Senior Director at the University of Tshwane's Technology Institute for the Future of Work. Today we are going to be looking at what the future of work looks like, as well as looking at some of the biggest challenges that the students are having as they prepare for the job market. Welcome to ITWeb TV, Tseliso.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Awesome. Just to hit the ground running, Tseliso, if you can just tell us what does the future of work look like maybe 10 years from now within the next decade?
I think it's good to kind of like put into context about where I am from. I'm from the Tshwane University of Technology's Institute for the Future of Work. And this is an initiative by the university. And now the university, TUT, as we all know it, is the largest contact university in South Africa and also probably in the continent, because at any given time, we have a little bit over 60,000 students who are attending classes. Yes. And therefore, the Institute for the Future of Work came into being to try and assist the university or to resolve some of the key problems that the university was experiencing. And one of them has to do with the future of work. Currently, there has been a discussion that the minister was asked about the surging number of unemployed graduates,
Yes.
which had moved from 9% to 13%. And now TUT as the largest contact university basically mean that majority, some of those people are actually coming from our own institution.
Yes.
And therefore the university to try and resolve the issue around graduate unemployment and unemployability had to diagnose the problem. And the diagnosis basically came out saying there is a huge gap between academia and the industry. Now, traditionally, institutions of higher learning are supposed to then serve as a pipeline that produces the labor force.
Yes.
And however, over the years, you will then find that the curriculum and the type of the labor force that we are producing is not in sync with what the industry wants. And therefore, TUT then is saying, let us close that gap and making sure that our graduate, when they leave the university, they are a perfect fit or perfect match for the jobs that they are applying for. The reason for that is that with the emergence of technology, the traditional skills have been lost.
Yeah.
And therefore, the university or the institutions of higher learning are supposed to then adjust. And therefore, the Institute for the Future of Work, our role is to become the ear of the university in the industry, for us to understand the emergence of technology, to understand the phenomenon of the technology, and also the implication thereof. And in understanding that, we are then going back to the university to influence the curriculum. But we are also then in that space advocating on behalf of the university and on behalf of the students to say to the industry, let us work together to make sure that we avert any danger of our graduate becoming unemployed or unemployable, or not to be employable.
And when was this institute started? And maybe if we just look maybe at some of the successes that you have had so far.
Yeah, the institute was conceptualized around 2021. And 2021 it was launched. And myself, I started in 2022. And the plan was that I would then assist in putting it together. And so far what we have achieved is, let me first also then try to explain the role of the institution. I have mentioned the first one is to try and mitigate on the issue of graduate unemployment or employability. And number two, Tshwane, as the Tshwane University of Technology, as the University of Technology, is like any other institutions of higher learning, is involved in research.
Okay.
And the purpose of the research is supposed to resolve the problems of the society. The purpose of the research is to bring new knowledge. And the purpose of the research is to also assist in the evolution of the industry itself. However, once again, I have mentioned that there is that gap.
Yeah.
And that gap, we end up like having a pile and tons of researches that have been made that do not speak to the societal needs, that do not speak to the needs of the industry. TUT is then saying, let's go back to the basics. Let's make sure that our research output is what the industry wants. Our research output will then resolve the problems of the society. And therefore, as the institute, our role once again is to be the ear of the university in the industry, to understand the pain points, and to influence the research agenda. But also then to position TUT as the to-go-to institution when the industry think research. And so we are deliberate in terms of producing high-impact research.
Okay.
So that is the second role that the institute is serving. Then the third role is that as the Institute of Technology, we have lots of IPs.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, once again, because of the gap, this problem is not unique to TUT. Because of this gap, a lot of IPs that have been registered not only by TUT but by many institutions are sitting and gathering dust. And the university, the reason is that we innovate in isolation, and we innovate in silos. And the solutions that we tend to develop do not speak to the solution that the industry need. The solutions that we develop do not speak to resolve the problems of the society. And therefore, the university is saying, we want to be deliberate that when we register an IP, it becomes commercialized.
Okay.
And therefore, as the Institute for the Future of Work, our role is to understand what the industry want, to innovate, and to also then be competitive in the current technologically driven economy. And in doing that, understanding that, we then influence the university's innovation agenda. And in influencing the university's innovation agenda, we are also then creating an environment or a platform where, as the university, we can then partner with the industry to collaborate in innovation, to develop solutions together. And these solutions can be commercialized and then can serve the industry, can serve the society. And the last role that we play as the Institute for the Future of Work is to position the university as a thought leader in the discourse around the fourth industrial revolution, of which we can start talking about the fifth, what the implication, and also in the future of work. And we do that through different thought leadership sessions and platforms that we do.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Tseliso. Obviously, we will go deeper into the inner workings of the Institute as we continue with this discussion. But just to take you back, like from your experience, we have spoken about technologies taking over. We are now using more technologies in the workplace. What kind of technologies do you think are going to like have the biggest impact going into the future? Like that students need to be cognizant of as you are seeing at the Institute of the Future of Work?
The past few days, there has been a discussion about DeepSeek,
Yes.
which is an artificial intelligence, another version of artificial intelligence, and how it basically shocked the American stock markets.
Yeah.
And now we are in the era whereby technology and innovation is happening quite rapid. And what is relevant today might not be relevant tomorrow.
Yes.
And so when you speak about AI, you also speak about the machine learning and many other technological innovations that we have, who would have a big impact on the job. And one thing that we also then need to understand and remember is that the fourth industrial revolution is highly influenced not only by the artificial intelligence, but it also influenced by the Internet of Things, as we were saying, and automation, whereby most of the companies can do more using machine and having less human intervention.
Yes.
That is one of the challenges that we are facing.
So at TUT, are there some maybe degree programs of diplomas that you feel maybe in 10 years' time these won't be relevant, or you are enhancing them to be relevant for the future?
At the moment, once again, as I have mentioned, the problem that we are having, it's not a TUT problem. It's a problem that we have across the board in the institutions of higher learning. Most of the qualifications that we are offering are not relevant for the job market.
Okay.
And the recent report by the World Economic Forum on the future of jobs, I was reading it again this morning, has some quite interesting observations.
Yes.
And one of I was even laughing talking to a colleague saying, looking at the area that is expected to surge in terms of the number of employment would be your agriculture,
Yeah.
your construction,
Yes.
even your care economy. And within the space of technology, there is a greater surge. And whereby the skills like your data analytics, the skills around your understanding of artificial intelligence and the use of that, and many other would actually also have a great surge. And then some of the roles, which are most of the qualifications that institutions of higher learning are offering, are slowly declining. And soon they would actually be totally irrelevant.
So what must we do now? Our kids are coming to these universities. My daughter is doing matric now. I'm expecting that if she passes next year, she'll go to university. So if most of these programs are becoming irrelevant or will soon be irrelevant, what should South African universities do to make sure that our kids are future ready for the job of the future?
Yeah. Look, the universities across the world are trying to evolve in order to be able to provide what the industry need. And there's many interventions.
Yes.
And within TUT, or within the South African scope, within TUT, the discussion is actually saying that we're trying to influence the student when they are in the first year, and we are late. And so the plan is to say, let's try and get them when they are still in high school,
Yes.
so that we can influence them.
Yeah.
And we also need to applaud, for example, the likes of the Gauteng Department of Education with their schools of specialization, because then they are then starting to breed a different cohort of your basic education that would then go to the university understanding the kind of skills that they require. And therefore, from our side, as the university, what we could do through career guidance, through partnership with the high schools, we can try and influence the direction that the students want to take. And for those that are already in the university, as the Institute for the Future of Work, we work with the industry partners, whereby we are then starting to advocate for micro-credentials. And then what do you mean by micro-credential? Micro-credentials is those certificates that you get by doing certain short courses that are industry certified and recognized.
Okay.
Last year, we partnered with one industry partner, IBM,
Okay.
and we introduced courses like cybersecurity, courses like the understanding of artificial intelligence, and we had a good uptake. About 600 young people from TUT registered.
Okay.
And the plan is to introduce more and more that. So micro-credentials is basically trying to buy us time and prepare this current cohort, because the reform and the change in curriculum does not happen overnight. There's a lot of bureaucracy around it. And you will always find that it might take about 3 to 5 years, if you are lucky, to introduce a new module into the system. And now the Institute for the Future of Work, TUT, has come up with that concept to try and be agile. To say, while we are still working through the bureaucracy, let's make sure that we do not leave our student behind, and let us make sure that our students, when they graduate, it is what the industry want. And we appeal to the industry. You see, because of the gap that has been created, many companies have developed courses that are relevant to their environment.
Yeah.
We are then saying, let's bring those short courses to our institutions of higher learning. While our students are still going with their mainstream degrees, let's make sure that we equip them with those skills.
Okay. So besides IBM, do you also have other industry partners as well?
Correct.
In the institute.
Last year, we launched a program in partnership with Microsoft.
Okay.
We call it the Microsoft Advanced Digital Skills Academy. And this is for those who have graduated, who are then looking to upskill themselves, either still looking for jobs, or they are in employment and then they are trying to upskill themselves. The program was launched last year, and then we are now still busy preparing for the uptake of the first cohort, which should start either now in Feb or in March.
Interesting. Just going back to the DeepSeek issue that you mentioned, like it was recently launched, like not so long ago, but it has already ruffled some feathers, across the globe. American stock markets going down, I think Asian as well. So looking at just the rapid change of technology, ChatGPT is not even like 3 years old. And now we are talking about another technology which is more cost effective and using a fraction of the compute that ChatGPT uses. Do you think our education system, with the rapid changes that we are witnessing in technology, our education system will ever catch up with these changes that we are witnessing?
We're not going to catch up. Unfortunately, we operate within a set system.
Yeah.
And but also then I need to put that in context that problem is not unique to South Africa.
Yeah.
And what needs to happen is that we need a change in culture and a change in mindset. And not only the system, but also us as individual. Because most of the technologies that we are seeing, they do not necessarily emanate from the classroom.
Yeah.
Some of them were conceptualized in the dorms.
Yeah.
And some of them were conceptualized by, the interaction between young people. South Africa has one of, I would say that we are the most creative nation. And as a creative nation, what we need to do is to use our creativity productively. We need to use our creativity to try and propel us in within the space of innovation. And so while the system is catching up, as a society, we need to be ahead of the system.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. And also maybe just going to the other side, older employees like myself, how can we also like prepare ourselves, because we are also getting overtaken by these technologies? Um, what should we do also to keep up with these technologies?
One of the key problems that we tend to have about technology, we tend to think about technology as greater than human creation.
Mm.
And technology is the creature of humanity. It's us who created technology. And therefore, for example, when you speak machine learning, when you speak artificial intelligence, it's basically machines mimicking what you have been doing for ages.
Yeah.
And should we be threatened by the emergence of the machines? No. What we need to be doing, last year we hosted, especially like for your industry, last year we hosted a thought leadership on generative AI
Okay.
and the future of work in the creative industry. And the question was, ChatGPT, that's before the emergence of DeepSeek and others, is ChatGPT going to replace a lot of these people?
Yeah.
And the answer was no. And then the question was, how do we do it? Remember the issue around your ChatGPT, it's basically on human prompt.
Yeah.
And therefore, as individuals, we need to look at how do we use technology to our own advantage. And to also then understand that the old cliche that says that I have so many years experience and therefore I'm irreplaceable should no longer work. It has to be an issue of how do I put that experience into operation, and how do I actually gain comparative advantage over technology using that experience. That is very critical. And constant scanning of the environment is very critical. Within the space that you are at, every day you see changes.
Okay.
And sometimes over the years, we tend to sleep through changes. And but this is not the time where we sleep through changes. It's a time whereby we observe, and when we see a change, we look at the loophole, and then we adjust.
Exactly. Yeah, which made me think, like, I think you mentioned it earlier, the World Economic Forum report.
Correct.
I think about artificial intelligence, it was saying it will kill maybe X amount of jobs, but at the same time also create X amount of jobs.
Correct.
But if you like tally the figures, the number of jobs that is going to create actually more than is going to
Correct.
to destroy. So when you are advising a student, given that scenario, which sort of courses would you advise them to pursue, especially in the age of technology like this?
Look, as we have mentioned, that there is a rapid change, and then we then ask which skills do we still need.
Yeah.
And there was a time when everyone was crazy about coding.
Yeah.
And so when you were reading about DeepSeek, they said that they spoke about the rapid conversion of mathematics when you are using DeepSeek, and then it basically say we might actually have a problem because those that know coding, they might be replaced by the machines. However, what needs to be happening is that one, when you are thinking about what would give you a comparative advantage, we are looking at, once again, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
For as much as it is evolving as rapid as it is, my advice to the students that are coming in the universities, for the students that are still aspiring to come in, and those who are in, I would advise that make sure that you read a lot around that. There are some universities that have made artificial intelligence basically compulsory from the first year, so that people can understand what it is. The issue around, and then with artificial intelligence, you also have the LLMs, the large language approach to it, which is very critical. And Africa is still behind. And I think that we have an opportunity there as a continent to look at how do we teach machines our language so that they can function the way we would want them to. And you are also then looking at the development ones, your coding and others are still actually very critical.
Okay.
So with the technical skills, I don't think there will be much replacement. What we need to do is just start to make sure that we are ahead of the machines.
Exactly. I also understand you have got a technology hub at the institute. Can you tell us about this hub?
I have mentioned that TUT in conceptualizing the Institute for the Future of Work intended also to close that gap between academia and industry.
Yes.
And I have also mentioned that we want to create a collaborative environment whereby the industry and academia can work together to come up with the new solutions, the new wows. And therefore, the university then acquired a property in Hatfield, where our mandate is to set up a hub which would then have different labs. And these labs are based on the different verticals, your artificial intelligence, your automation, and different others. And we are busy setting up, for example, an exciting one, we are busy setting up a lab on cybersecurity, whereby we are then giving our students and even the community that ability to come and understand the sandboxing around cybersecurity. We have a small lab that is the VR, virtual reality, where we want to build platforms that would then assist in accelerating people's learning in using that the what you call the VR for teaching digital skills and others. So the hub is there, and what we are looking for is industry partners. We are very deliberate. We can easily set up labs our own as the university. But the problem is that we are going to then come up with solutions that the industry doesn't want. So in developing the lab, we are then saying to the industry, we would want you to anchor those labs. And so, I mean, we are partnering with another partner to set up a lab on the humanoid robots. And so we could have done it ourselves, but we are then saying we want the industry partner so that the taxonomy of that would have both academia and the industry. And the solutions we create or produce out of that would be what the industry wants.
And also looking at our students, you mentioned earlier that some of the technologies that we are talking about today were developed in dormitories and so forth. Like, why are our students also, why are we not having also like innovations coming from African universities, if I can put it broadly? Why does it look like we are always waiting for innovations from students from outside the US? We are talking about DeepSeek now. When are we also going to have like our own innovations, like having the same impact on the global stage?
One of the observation I've heard before I moved to TUT, I used to work for government, and some people would come to me and say, I have innovation, young people. And one of the things I used to warn them about was make sure that when you say you have a solution, make sure that it's not a duplicate solution. So the problem that we have in South Africa, when you speak innovation, a lot of people actually duplicate innovation. It's something that they might have seen overseas, and they think that they can repeat it here. And it's the same with our university students. Because of lack of guidance, their creativity get wasted. And therefore, TUT then is saying, through the Institute for the Future of Work, let's create an acceleration whereby we will then be looking at those ideas that are coming out of the university and from our students, from our lecturers, and from our researchers. And if there is an idea that catches the eye, now this is the concept around developing that the tech hub. where we are then saying for every vertical, we need to have an industry partner.
Yeah.
So let's hear Admire has this epiphany in his dorm. He comes up with this idea. We are then saying, come through to the Tsela place, which is the tech hub, with your idea. We bring the industry, we bring our academic experts. We look at your idea. We are then saying, how do we then develop it, prototype it? And if it's what the industry want, we commercialize it.
Yeah.
So the reason that we don't have most of the technologies coming out of our DOMs, one, there is we have not created conducive platforms. And TUT is saying we are creating that. Number two, as a country, we are quite risk averse. Our venture capital and our funding agencies do not fund ideas. And therefore, sometimes our ideas are stillborn because there is nobody who's assisting to take it forward.
Okay.
And so those are some of the problem. Like, it's one of the problem that as the Institute of the Future of Work, we are then saying, let's try and mitigate against it. And probably by the end of the year, we would then announce how we are mitigating against that. Yeah.
But also looking at the universities, do you maybe collaborate, maybe TUT collaborating with University of Pretoria, University of Johannesburg, to try and nurture these ideas, into something tangible, or you just work separately?
To the contrary, that there used to be, or there is a sense of competition among the universities. But in the past few years, there has been a change. And it's not only the past few years. I mean, if you're to look at some of the solutions that were developed during COVID, they were developed in partnership between different institutions, universities. And also as TUT, we collaborate, we do work with other universities. Earlier this year, we had a meeting with one of other universities talking partnership, local university. And we do also pursue international partnerships in order to make sure that we have the capacity that we need to be able to measure up to the tide of innovation that we are facing.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Tseliso. Just maybe looking ahead at the future of the institute, what plans do you have to grow it further, or to make sure that maybe in future we'll also be talking about it, DeepSeek also coming from the TUT?
Yeah. Admire, one of the things that we want to appeal is that as the university, we are reaching out to the industry. And in reaching out to the industry, we are saying we are ready to tango. We are ready to collaborate and work with the industry. And so we have loads of engagements. Last year, we met with about 79 companies in trying to look for partnership. And so for this year, we will still be going out until we find the right partners. That is one thing. The second aspect is that we will be introducing some development programs for the university graduates and for those who are also working, and also then for those who are still looking to come to the university. We also want to be going out and speaking to the high school students to try and influence them. But what is coming up is that we are going to be hosting different thought leadership sessions, whereby the industry would be speaking to the university. The government would also be there then, and also the civil society. But later this year, we are having an annual dialogue on the future of work, which we usually host. Last year, we had over 500 people coming, great speakers, and a lot of ideas were punted. And we are also seeking to kind of implement some of those ideas. And this year, the fourth installation of the dialogue is coming up. And we are also having some innovative or solution ideas in the pipeline.
Yeah.
And then we are hoping to be able to launch and commercialize at least the 2 of those. And ITWeb, as our new partner, would always be in the loop.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Tseliso. Just one thing that just when we're talking about like the students maybe having ideas that they are sort of imitating from other. I was listening to one of the news channels, I think CNN yesterday. Then they were trying to look at the guy who developed DeepSeek from China, and he was speaking at one of an event that was held in China. And one of the things that I took away from him, like, you know, the competition between China and the US, he was saying for China to overtake the US, they need to start not like following in the footsteps of, like, if you see like DeepSeek itself and Chat, it's like a version of ChatGPT, but you know, so you are saying like they now need to start to lead, come up with the innovations. So I was also thinking maybe our African students also can also like look at maybe even develop solutions that are relevant for Africa itself, because like the challenges that they do have in the US or in China, I think they are different from the challenges that we have here in Africa. So I was just thinking maybe we can start by looking at the sort of challenges that we have here, and maybe
look, the dialogue that we had last year, the focus was on Africa. And we were talking about collaboration to resolve the Africa's problems.
Yeah.
And also collaboration to propel us to economic prosperity, looking at the opportunity that is being presented by the free trade agreement.
Yeah.
To then be saying that is a door for us to collaborate.
Mm.
And you are right. It is high time that we become the producers of what we consume, not the consumers of what comes from outside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tseliso, for coming to our studios. We look forward to hearing about more innovations coming from the TUT. Thank you for watching this episode of ITWeb TV. Today we are speaking to Tseliso Mohlomi, who is the Senior Director at the Tshwane University of Technology's Institute of the Future of Work. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.